Today, let's discuss the poem To His Coy Mistress, written by Marwell. Now, Marwell is a writer, British writer, who wrote during the time of John Donne. Marwell is thought to be, or he is associated with, the metaphysical poetry. And he was not a poet who lived to see his fame. Even though he became this popular, famous, his poems are now learned in a lot of universities. He did not see any of this when he was alive. His poems got popular only after his death. Before we begin, I would like to warn you that some points in the poem, some lines in the poem, or maybe even the whole poem, might seem morally not agreeable. But on the other hand, you will also realize that some points of the poem are in fact true to an extent. Now we will move on to the poem straightforward To His Coy Mistress. The poem was published in 1681. Okay, so we will begin with the title of the poem To His Coy Mistress. Now, the poem is about the speaker, who could probably be Andrew Marvell himself, who is trying to seduce or convince this lady. The lady could be his lover. We do not know about that. So he's trying to convince this lady to be physically in affair with him. The word coy in this title could be interpreted in different ways. One way of seeing the meaning of the word is to see the girl to be very reluctant. Coy here means shy. Now, the girl could be shy because she is reluctant. She is not willing to accept all these terms, all these ideas put forward by Andrew Marvell. Or, on the other hand, we could also think about the girl to be pretending to be coy. Maybe she is not actually shy. In modern terms, we say that someone is trying hard to get. So maybe she is only pretending to be coy. So that is why he says or he recites this poem to his mistress. Anyway, we are free to have our own interpretations. Now the poem begins with the line, "Had we but world enough and time." So the speaker is telling to this lady that if I had this entire world and all the time in this world, that is, if we were not mortals, if we wouldn't die one fine day, if we could live forever, if we had all the time in the world. Now he is telling that this is a condition. I would do all the things that I'm going to tell you, all the points that he is going to mention in this stanza, if he had all the time in the world. So, had we, meaning if. Had we but world enough and time, this coyness, lady, were no crime. Now, this shyness that you are showing, this coyness that you are showing, maybe in the name of morality, or maybe she is trying hard to get, we do not know what is happening. Whatever it is, this coyness that you are showing wouldn't be a crime. I wouldn't see it as a crime if we had forever with us. If that was the case, we would sit down and think which way to walk and pass our long love's day. We could even sit down if we had such kind of time with us. It would have been okay even if we sit down and for one full day we keep thinking about which way we should walk or how we should spend this day. It could have been possible. Though by the Indian Ganges side shouldst rubies find, I by the tide of Humber would complain. Though meaning you. You could have simply walked through the banks of the river Ganges in India. Now, India is a very far away place when compared to England. You could have just gone far away to India and walked around on the banks of Ganges and maybe even take your time and find rubies. Slowly, you can take your own time. While you do that, I will be here near the tide, near the banks of Humber, which is a river in England, and I would maybe complain about your absence. We could have done that if we had time. I wouldn't mind you going to such far away places and then not coming back to me fast. And this is again, remember, don't forget our clause if. It's all centered around if. I would love you 10 years before the flood, and you should, if you please, refuse till the conversion of the Jews. Now, again, if we had all this time, I would have started loving you even 10 years before the flood. Now, flood here is a biblical reference to the great flood, the stories we have heard about Noah and Noah's ark. So, this story, the story of the flood, is thought to be taken place almost 3000 years before Jesus was born. So, even before that, I would have started loving you. 10 years before the flood, I would have started loving you, and I wouldn't even mind. You should, just like how you are telling me now, you could have refused my proposal till the conversion of the Jews. Conversion of the Jews, during those times, it was believed that the complete conversion of Jews is never going to happen. So for eternal time period, I could have just started loving you, and you could have just told me no, 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 forever. I wouldn't have given any care to that if we had all the time in the world, if we were not mortals, if we were not going to die. So, in this stanza, as you can see, Andrew Marwell is using a lot of hyperboles. Okay, now moving on, we find my vegetable love should grow vaster than empires and more slow. Now, the speaker himself agrees that his love is carnal. His love is not something very divine, like the valediction forbidding morning of John Donne, wherein the lover says that our love is very divine. It's not physical. Our love is very different from the love of the people on the earth. He agrees that what he wants from this girl is purely physical love. He is not thinking about anything divine, going into different places and having a good relationship even after being very far away. No. When he uses the phrase vegetable love, he is clearly agreeing to this fact. It's not something platonic, it's purely physical. My vegetable love should grow vaster than empires and more slow. And 100 years should go to praise thine eyes, and on thy forehead gaze. And again he continues saying that if I had all this time, I would have taken 100 years only to praise your eyes. Your eyes are so beautiful. I would have taken these 100 years of my life simply to praise your eyes. Each part of your body, I admire every part of your body. I would just admire your eyes with 100 years. And your forehead gaze. And then 200 years to adore each breast. Again, now when we read through these lines, we do not know, we ourselves do not have a clear cut opinion about whether this lady should adhere, whether she should agree to what this person, the speaker, is telling her. For some reason, we are also confused. We do not know, just like the lady, if the lady should be agreeing to what he says, or if she should just move away from this man. So he keeps telling all these exaggerated things, which in reality makes us feel that this person is simply interested in the physical body of this lady. He is simply showing out his lust. It's nothing like the divine love we have seen in canonization. But 30,000 to the rest. He'll take 30,000 years to talk about the rest of her body parts. An age at least to every part. And the last age should show your heart. So he will keep telling about each of her body parts, and in the end, he will talk about her heart, about her character, and somehow putting her character at the end of everything, keeping her physical appearance and her physical beauty above her own character, above her heart, doesn't feel right to many of us. But anyway, that's the theme of the poem. For lady, you deserve the state, nor would I love at lower rate. So these last two lines, the couplet you just read now, for, lady, you deserve the state, nor would I love at lower rate. Now, this is the only couplet in the entire stanza where we feel that the person actually admires this lady. Instead of just trying to seduce her, a kind of admiration is also there in a positive sense. It's only from these lines that it is reflected. Now, just as I have mentioned before, whatever he told about all these years that he will take to admire her and all these years that he will take to praise her beauty and about the kind of the love that he has been talking about, it's all possible if he has a condition that they should have forever time with them. And so he begins the second stanza with the word but. For sure, the speaker and the lady, they are both not going to live forever. They will one day die. So the poet says that I have been telling you about all the things we could have done if we had time. But at my back, I always hear time's winged chariot hurrying near. Now I am constantly reminded that I am mortal. I am going to die one day. I always hear time's winged chariot. Time is personified here. It seems that the time is actually, he's coming to them as if he is a person coming in a winged chariot. And the speaker could hear the time's winged chariot hurrying, not even walking, hurrying. Time is very fastly approaching them. And yonder all before us lie deserts of vast eternity. At the back I could hear time's winged chariot, and in the at the front I could only see deserts of vast eternity. Thy beauty shall no more be found, nor in thy marble vault shall sound my echoing song. Now soon time is going to conquer us, and your beauty will vanish. You won't be young forever. You are going to grow old. You are going to lose all this beauty that you have. And in your marble vault, in your grave made up of marble, my echoing song, my song will be echoed. Then worms shall try that long preserved virginity. Now, this virginity that you have been preserving, storing without giving me, this will be eaten up by the worms. Your body will be eaten up by the worms once you die. So, what's the point? And your quaint honor, this silly honor that you are keeping, the morality that you keep telling about, will turn to dust, and into ashes all my lust. And he says, all this morality, this virginity that you have kept, you have preserved for all these years, will one day, along with you, turn to ashes. And also, my lust. He agrees that his love is purely physical, it's not something platonic. He agrees that it's only lust. He wants a physical connection with her. And the next two lines are very popular. The grave's a fine and private place, but none, I think, do there embrace. Now the speaker is telling the lady, the grave, the tomb in which you will be buried, is going to be a very private place. There won't be anybody who is going to question you, or there is nobody who is going to come and disturb you. But now he's being a bit sarcastical too, and he says, I don't think anybody is going to embrace there. Anybody is going to be very lovey-dovey there in the grave. Okay, so in the first stanza, we know he used a condition. The condition was time. If we had all the time in the world. And after the first stanza, in the second stanza, he tells her, see, the reality is we don't have all this time. Okay, you and me, we both are going to die. We are going to turn into ashes. And what are you going to do with this beauty and this morality that you have been preserving? What happens if you die? All this will turn into ashes. Okay, and in the third stanza, he gives a kind of solution, like he has the problem and he also has the solution. Now, therefore, while the youthful hue sits on thy skin like morning dew, now while you are still young, while you still have that youthful hue, hue is color, while you are still beautiful like the morning dew, and while thy willing soul transpires at every pore with instant fires. Now, this is where I came up with the interpretation that this lady is in fact actually pretending to be coy. Because here the speaker says that she is willing, she is also passionate about this man, and she is pretending to be, she is coy. Maybe she thinks about all the societal rules, about what the society would think about her. So that is why she is pretending to be coy. So while thy skin is still young, while you are still beautiful and you are still willing, you are still passionate, now let us sport us while we may, and now let us enjoy this moment. Now, bluntly saying, he is simply inviting the girl to have a sexual intercourse with him, and he wants her to enjoy the moment right now. He repeats the word now in the sentence. Now, let us sport us while we may, and now, like amorous birds of prey. So, this is the theme of Carpe Diem, where the theme is actually to seize the day, to enjoy the moment right now. So let us enjoy this moment like birds of prey, like amorous, loving birds of prey. Rather at once our time devour than languish in his slow chapped power, instead of losing all your beauty, all your virginity, to time's slow chapped power, his. Okay, time is personified, that is why the poet is using the word his. So instead of losing it all to time's power, slow chapped power, let us enjoy, let us devour. Devour is to eat, eat in a very rapid manner. Let us devour it all. Let us roll all our strength and all our sweetness up into one bowl. Okay, let us put everything we love, all the entertainment, everything we love, into one bowl and tear our pleasures with rough strife through the iron gates of life. Iron gates, according to me, in my interpretation, refers to the moral standards that society has put up. Maybe the girl could still not be able to be convinced by the speaker because she is frightened of what the society would think, or something like that. She might be afraid of the consequences. So the man, the speaker, wants her to give away all these worries. Stand still. But what can we do? We can enjoy the time, that we can make the time run behind us. We can just move forward, do everything we want, enjoy life, enjoy all the moments, be physically in contact, do everything that we want, and let time run behind us. So that's the poem To His Coy Mistress, written by Andrew Marwell. Now, we can't exactly say that this is a love poem. It's a poem based on the theme Carpe Diem. Now, about the speaker, to an extent, the speaker seems to be a man who is full of lust, who needs nothing other than physical attachment, physical contact, or sexual intercourse from the lady. But on another hand, you can also view the speaker as a person who wants to show divine platonic love to this woman, but he knows that their life is going to end soon, like any other mortals. They are only mortals, they don't have eternal time in their hands to for that kind of a divine love. So he is forced, in a way, it seems that he is forced to have a carnal love, to have this type of a physical lust. Now, even though it seems that the major theme of the poem revolves around love and physical attraction, the poet conveys two other important themes. The first one is carpe diem, as I've already mentioned, that we have to enjoy our life to its fullest. And secondly, it's the theme of death. It's a theme that we don't notice that easily, but the poet reminds us again and again that we are only mortals. We will die a day. Death is inevitable to us. So, whatever you have to do, whatever you wish to do it right now. Now is the time. it's a best time to do something that you would like to do. Okay, so with this theme, we come to a conclusion of this video. I hope you have understood the major idea of the poem. Let me know your comments and suggestions. Thank you so much for watching.